All right. Is it recording? Yeah, it's recording. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Heat Vision Podcast. Right now it's me, Hector. I got Javi with me. Then I got Everardo. Everardo's going to be in the next episode where we review. What was that?
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Okay, yeah. So stay tuned for the next episode for that with Everardo. But yeah, today we're going to be reviewing the fifth episode of Moon Knight. But before we get started, I just want to let y'all know that we're available on all platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, all that. Make sure you follow our socials at Heat Vision Podcast, and yeah, let's get right into it, Hav. I know you had a lot of things to say. I'm trying to remember. So
this episode was basically his origin.
Oh,
it showed his whole backstory. It showed.
Oh yeah.
It showed. So basically, what this episode was about, it was Mark and Steven being approached by the goddess of women and children,
right,
as they guide them through the afterlife, and they have to revisit memories deep in Mark's subconscious.
And it's confirmed that they're dead.
Yeah, it's confirmed that they died.
That they're dead.
Because that was the biggest thing about the last episode, is we were confused.
Yeah.
We're like, what's going on? Like, they're in the psych ward, and it's weird as hell.
Yeah.
Now they're like outside of each other's body. What's going on? We didn't know what was going on. But it was confirmed that they're in the afterlife, and basically this episode focuses on.
Sorry, cut you off real quick. I gotta remember, man. Spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Spoilers, guys.
Yeah.
A bunch of spoilers, okay?
Yeah, this is a spoiler review, so we're gonna be talking about all the things. I'm not holding nothing back.
Yeah, so click off if you don't want any spoilers. All right, you bitch. All right, Hav, continue.
No, but I was saying that. So them being in the afterlife, basically, I think her name was Tawaret, something like that.
Something like that.
The goddess of the hippo goddess. We'll just call her that. Basically said that their hearts needed to be full, and they needed to be balanced on a scale for them to reach their version of heaven, which is the field of reeds.
And she was like, this seems incomplete.
Yeah, the scales kept not
balancing. And at that moment, I thought, oh shit.
Yeah,
like
everyone did.
They're gonna introduce this third personality, right?
Jake Lockley.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, okay, we're about to see him. And there's been many hints that I felt like he was gonna pop up.
Oh yeah.
But he doesn't.
Yeah,
he doesn't pop up, man.
I think this far into the show, bro,
it's over with.
It's safe to say that Jake will probably not make an appearance.
No,
he'll probably be a post credit scene in the last episode. I guarantee you.
Right.
Be like, wait a minute, I thought.
But then they say that this is all. They're not gonna make a season 2. Like, this is it.
Oh, we don't know. Nothing's confirmed yet. We don't know yet. But
yeah, go on.
So the hearts are on the scale and they're not being balanced, and the goddess says that it's because their hearts are not full. So in order for them to be full, they have to go and revisit their memories and stuff. But yeah, they have to go revisit memories, and they have to be open with each other for the scales to balance. And so that's basically the show's way of saying, hey, this is the origin story. This is the episode that shows Mark as a child and basically his years growing up to him becoming Moon Knight. Yeah, that's what we saw in this episode.
Yeah, which
so that's basically like the recap of what this episode is about.
I enjoyed what they did with their origin. I guess you could tell that they're going their separate way.
Yeah, so
of how they did it.
You noted that they've changed things.
Yeah, in
the origin than the one that we knew from the comics.
Yeah.
Do you want to point out some of the differences that you caught up, that you catch?
The first one was, so we get this scene that's very traumatic with first we see this like little boy, right, and then Steven decides to follow him, and then Mark is like, no, don't.
Right.
And immediately I knew, wait, is this him as a kid? And then sure enough, when Steven entered that door, he's like, Mom, and I'm like, oh shit, and he locks out Mark, and like right there we basically see Mark as a kid and his brother Randall, and they called him what? Rolly?
Roro, like a
Roro.
nickname.
Oh, Roro. Yeah, but his name is Randall, and they're out here like, as kids, and they're Randall's, I think, calling Mark by his like cosplay name, Steven Grant. Remember, like Mr. Grant, like
Yes.
Mr. Grant. But
Yeah.
they were
From the
like
movie,
cosplaying or whatever they were doing, going on adventures and whatnot. Then they get into this like ravine, like a cave, like a cave type thing, and then ends up flooding. And then we see like Steven himself, like the Mark's other identity, like screaming, trying to save him or whatnot. All you hear is like help, help, and then it comes to find out that his brother died.
Drowned.
His younger brother died, and his mom and do you think his dad too, or I was gonna say like his mom resents him for it, but
no, the dad didn't.
The dad didn't.
No,
okay,
fuck
okay,
no.
okay.
The dad was way more laid back.
Right. So
he understood that, like
you're a kid, you're a kid.
But
man.
she was definitely.
But yeah, the mom was definitely like, this is your fault, like I
Right.
miss my Roro, like, and would abuse him and whatnot.
Yeah. That was the biggest like thing that
Right.
caught my attention in the episode.
Right.
That scene, I didn't. It shocked me actually, to say the least. Like when I first saw the episode, obviously it sucked watching the mom resent Mark so much for the death of his brother.
Yeah, man, it sucks.
Going as far as to like, you see her like that's that one scene where they're eating breakfast and she's drinking in the morning.
Yeah.
She out here drinking and saying shit like, I knew you'd do something like this. You were always jealous of him. But saying shit that would get to his head.
Bro.
But no, like obviously.
How could you say that to your kid, man?
Like
that's crazy.
the thing, bro. And that's crazy to think that Mark had to go through that shit, bro.
No, yeah.
But
and like it's not his fault, bro.
Yeah, I
they're
know.
just kids being kids, man.
Yeah.
Like it's not his fault. Like they both don't know any better. The fact that she's like, you were supposed to protect him, blah blah. Like, bro,
Right.
he's a kid.
Right.
They don't know any better. Like, of course they're gonna do stupid things. And if anything, I blame the parent. Because if you're a shitty parent, because if you're gonna let if you're chilling at home and you're gonna let your kids go outside randomly in the fucking woods, you're a shitty parent. You're supposed to be supervising them. You're supposed to be like, okay, you guys want to go play in the woods? Okay, fine. Give me 10 minutes. Let me do this, blah, blah, blah. And I'll go with you guys. And, I'll be around with you guys while you guys do your thing. Like, that's good parenting. So, like, if anything, bro, it's her fucking fault. But yeah, I agree with you, man. It was kind of rough to see that, man.
Yeah. But definitely, like I said, the scene that shocked me the most, the scene that I did not know, I was like, oh, wow, they're going in that direction, was when Mark didn't want Steven to go inside the room. Dude, I'm going to be honest. My mind started racing. I thought of a million. I'm like, what's he doing in his room? Bro, tell me why my mind went to suicide attempt.
Whoa.
I was like, dude, what? Like, what happened in that room?
Yeah.
I low-key, the first thing that came to my head, I was like, bro, no way. Suicide attempt? Do you think? Because it's obviously something big that he didn't want Steven to see. So, like, that was my first thought. I'm like, no way. Is Marvel going to go down that direction?
Nah.
They didn't
I immediately knew there was, like, some type of abuse. That's what I thought.
Right. I personally, I was just like, well, I wonder what happened.
Right.
Right.
But going back to what they changed is that, so the brother Randall died at this young age, and the comics that I'm familiar with, like the original origin and whatnot, and obviously I'm not an expert with Moon Knight. I just read like a couple of his issues, couple runs, like fuck, I don't even know how long ago. So I can't really remember, but I do remember that Randall was actually in the CIA, I think, and after Mark was done with the Marines, he decided to join the CIA with his brother. And I think I mentioned this in the first episode of our podcast that we did for the first episode. But yeah, so Randall and Mark are both in the CIA. Eventually, Randall is doing illegal activity, selling arms and guns like illegally and whatnot. At the time, Mark's girlfriend finds out and tries to report him, and Randall ends up murdering Mark's girlfriend. And then Mark obviously is Mark gets upset. There's this feud between them, and eventually Randall dies that way.
Yeah,
that's the storyline I'm familiar with, and then that's what causes Mark to leave the CIA and become a mercenary because he just couldn't handle it, obviously, right? That trauma bullshit.
So in the show, what they changed is obviously they killed Randall
As a kid.
as a kid.
Yeah.
But not only that, and not that he just died, but rather that Mark felt responsible because he took him into the cave, and it was raining, and even he said like, "Mom said we can't go in when it's raining." Yeah. And he's like, "Don't be such a baby, let's go." And he like kind of persuaded him to go. So it's on his conscience. And then the other thing of you saying that he left the CIA to become a mercenary, he had a passing line that he says to Steven, like, apparently, what did he say? Something like, apparently doing something in the military will get you discharged. And after that happened, I decided to become a mercenary for something hire. Like so he played it off as something else. You know what I mean? But so that was the changes that they did.
Yeah, that was one of the major changes. Which I don't know how I feel about that, man. Killing off Randall that as a kid at that age. I don't know how I feel about that, but
I like
whatever. You know, that's what. Yeah, right. Because it builds more traumatic.
Yeah, definitely builds more character.
Yeah,
for
Marvel.
For Mark, I mean,
Marvel's doing their own thing, and I can respect it, right?
And I guess, and I'll be honest, dude, and I feel that. For them to slightly tweak the origins and change it a little bit and stuff like that, I feel like they can do that. Yeah. When it comes to Moon Knight, because Moon Knight is not a staple character like Spider-Man, right, or Iron Man. So I feel like they're more liberal. It's like what they did with Avengers. Well, Age of Ultron. What they did with Wanda and Quicksilver. In that movie, right? Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Like, technically, if we're going by Marvel comic book lore, they're mutants. They're X-Men. Those are X-Men comics. They are, yeah. But they got their powers from, what was it? The Mind Stone that's in Vision's head. And you see that in the WandaVision show, how she got the powers because she faced the stone, and the stone gave her powers. I'm a little vague on the memory, but that's how she got them. And so, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of that, I feel like we're gonna see the X-Men in this multiverse movie.
Oh, and Multiverse
I
of
feel
Madness?
like Wanda's gonna like. I feel like since Professor X is in here, he's gonna like tell Wanda that like, yo, you're one of us, type shit. Like you're an X-Men, you're a mutant.
But I wonder how that would work.
Like you're a mutant or something like that, right? And maybe Wanda will like lose her shit, like what? My life's a lie, like some bullshit.
Right. I don't think that'd be the case.
They'll be like, I wish, blah blah blah, and like she wishes the X-Men or some bullshit.
I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking.
No, but like,
but we'll see.
I get what you mean. No, that would be cool. But like,
I just want to see the X-Men.
I don't want to be that. I'm sorry. I just don't want to be that guy. I hate people who do this. What? I don't want to be that guy that's like, I'm actually. I don't want to be like that. But technically, that can't work because to be a mutant, that's a gene. It's an X gene that's in your blood, and you're born a mutant. But she was a human that got powers from the stone, so it wouldn't work for him to be like, you're actually a mutant.
No. I'm listen, y'all. Y'all let me know in the comments. I'm probably tweaking right now. Yeah. But I could have sworn that isn't Wanda and Quicksilver aren't they children of Magneto?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so Magneto's their dad.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like cuz in the MCU they don't mention that. Like at all, they don't.
Well, no, because
that's what I'm saying. So I feel like they'll be like, I know Wanda, like I know your father, blah blah, like or something like that.
No, I don't because we saw her real dad in WandaVision.
Oh, you're right.
What the fuck? Right. I'm telling you, they were just regular people, bro.
That's lame. No, but no, your real dad though. Maybe like they'll
retcon.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh, this wasn't your real dad. Like this was just blah blah blah. Well, and then she's like, what do you mean? Well, this is your real dad. And then the portal opens up and it's just Magneto. That'd be raw as shit. But anyways,
that would I mean, I guess, but
I don't know. We'll see, man. I'm excited for this movie.
I got a lot of theories about that movie,
bro. I feel like we're gonna see some crazy shit in it, man. I just want the X-Men.
My thing.
I want the X-Men.
Here's my thing. And I know this is a review for Moon Knight. And
we're sorry guys.
But here's my thing. I just want to put this out, real quick. I don't know if it's true or not. What? But I keep seeing that this fucking movie is 2 hours 6 minutes.
Oof. Really?
Which is kind of short for the multiverse of madness. You feel me?
I feel like it'd be like a 2 hour like 50.
Oh no, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking maybe like 2:30, like Spider-Man
2:40.
No Way Home. Sure, I guess. But I was thinking at least a 2.5 hour movie like No Way Home. And No Way Home wasn't even about the multiverse. Like it was kind of, but it was mostly like the villains and the two other Spider-Men from other universes. This movie focuses on the multiverse. Like,
yeah,
they're gonna visit different universes, different dimensions. So for a movie to be just a little over 2 hours, I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, but we don't
know. If
know,
you go
yeah.
on Fandango to like buy your tickets, it says 2 hours 6 minutes, and low key, I'm like, I feel like that's kind of short.
That does seem short.
Yeah, and I also want to say this last thing because we got to get back on Moon Knight, but ever since this movie got announced, there've been a lot of people theorizing the people that are gonna appear in this show,
like Toby.
And I'm just gonna say this right now, you're all fucking tweaking.
Toby, Deadpool.
People said Deadpool. People said,
Toby.
we're gonna see Chris Evans come back, but as the Human Torch when he did Fantastic Four, not as Captain America. I was like, what? I've heard people say we're gonna see the X-Men. Like, what?
I want to see the X-Men.
Here's the thing.
They need to make the X-Men, man.
You can't introduce the X-Men
just like that
into the MCU naturally, like they just happened. That wouldn't make sense. Because you mean to tell me in this whole Marvel universe there has never been a single mutant until now? No. I feel like what they're doing is that now that Marvel has the rights to the X-Men, and now we're getting the multiverse of madness, and Professor X is in it, and the Illuminati, what they're going to do, I bet you, is they're going to be like, oh, there's another universe like yours, but but our superpowered beings were born this way. They didn't make suits that flew around. There were no super soldier serums. They were born with these gifts. You know how Xavier doesn't call the powers like curses. He calls them those are your gifts. He's like, they were born with these gifts and they're called mutants, but they're from another universe. That makes sense because you mean to tell me like there hasn't been a single mutant in history in the MCU timeline? It'll make more sense if they're like in this other universe we have mutants, and then like in a future movie where they wanted to cross over,
it'll just be
that's where we would see them. They would have to like Doctor Strange would have to open a portal.
It's like, hey, y'all want to stay here? It's like, bet we'll stay here.
Like something like that.
We'll stay in this universe.
Yeah, right. That would be a way to do it. Yeah, in my personal opinion.
Right.
But anyways, back on track with Moon Knight.
I was gonna say something from what you said with Moon Knight. I forgot what, man. What do you remember the last thing you said about Moon Knight?
I said, I was just naming that the differences between the comics.
Oh right, okay. So the next difference that I saw was that we see obviously because of Mark's brother's death, right? There's a lot of traumatic shit going on, especially with the abuse and whatnot. So then later we find out that Stephen Grant was in him since a kid.
Yeah,
we see that shit, and I thought that was a really cool spin on it. I'm like, okay,
he created him as a kid, and that was cool too.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
It was cool because you said that Mark Spector created Jake Lockley and Stephen Grant. He's personalities after Khonshu brought him back to life, saved him, and he became Moon Knight, right?
Yeah, he was perfect. He was perfectly fine as a Marine and all that stuff. It wasn't until he was close to literal death, until Khonshu, like in the show, right? Yeah. Khonshu, whatever. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, as a kid.
Yeah. I liked that that it turned out that he got the disorder.
Yeah.
As a kid, and he created Stephen Grant because that was
his like safe haven,
his coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And it's like there's slight changes that they took with this show than
but
the
it's
comic.
Not drastic.
It's not drastic.
Oh, I remember.
But I like the changes because it's almost as if the writer said, "Hey, let's tweak his origin, not for fun, to add more depth to Mark Spector's character." Yeah. Like the fact that he had to create a different personality where he had memories of his mom and shit, that her being great. And that's another scene that, like I said, the scene that shocked me was seeing the mom drunk walking in and getting the belt, and you're like, no way, I cannot believe Marvel's going this direction. And
you thought they were going to show him getting beat?
No, no, just the fact that it was going to happen. Oh, okay. Because you see her pulling out the belt and shit, right? And even Mark kicks Steven out. He's like, you're not supposed to see it. He's like, that's the whole point of you, is that he's like, what the fuck? Like, you made me up as what? Like your stress ball? Like as your coping mechanism? He was like, but it was all a lie. And he's like, who the fuck cares if it's a lie? Like, you got to remember her as someone who loved you. You have all the good memories. That's why he said, why are you remembering her like that? She was never like that.
Yeah.
When he was pushing him away.
Mm-hmm.
Like Steven says that, but that's because Steven is the personality that Mark created in his mind that remembered all the good stuff in his life.
Yep.
Basically, Steven, and it's one of those things where it's like, if you think about it deeper than that, Steven is what Mark would have been had all these bad things never happened.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, it's like it's kind of like its own little multiverse if you think about it, because you have Mark Spector, who's like the guy that went through his shit and is where he is right now, but Steven is the direction that he went with when his mom wasn't abusive, she wasn't a drunk that would beat him and hated him. He didn't have to become a mercenary, he didn't become, Moon Knight. So it basically showed the two different sides of what a background could do drastically to change a person.
Yep.
That was what I thought was really cool about what they did with this episode.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, even though they changed it, I like it.
I could get behind it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And
there was actually a scene, and I remember I told you this earlier today, but I remember like when we were watching the episode together, like the scene that made me tear up.
Oh shit! You teared up in this bitch?
Yeah, hell yeah,
oh,
dude.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The one that made me tear up
part?
was at the end when he's revisiting the memory of when he was at his mom's funeral, and his dad's like, "Come in," and he's like, "No." Yeah. He's drinking and shit, and he's like, "No," and he's walking down the street, and he's like crying, and he grabs what do you call the cap that Jewish people wear?
I don't know what that.
Roddy, do you know what that's called? The little cap that the Jewish people wear. I forgot what it was called.
What was it?
A yarmulke? A yarmulke?
We don't know, guys. Let us know in the comments.
We're not trying to be disrespectful. We just don't know the name of the cap. Right. But anyways, like when he's walking down, he's breaking down crying because he's just like a kippah. Yeah. Okay, so
what the heck is yarmulke then?
I'm pretty sure that's
it's a kippah. Okay,
I'm pretty sure that's a brand. Oh no, I'm thinking of Yamaha. I'm dumb
Yamaha?
as fuck.
Okay.
I'm dumb as fuck.
Okay, so yeah. Right.
But no, like that scene where he's walking down the street.
Hey, but let me cut you off right there real quick.
Go ahead.
But before we get to that scene, I remembered what I wanted to say from back then. But not only that, I also want to mention something else. So hold that thought.
Okay.
So I know you said, Marvel, they from sticking true to the comics or whatnot. And to be fair, all the Marvel movies don't really necessarily stick to the comics.
Well,
a lot.
Not concrete.
No, right. That I just want to point that out, which I think it's okay from what I've seen from the MCU. Sure, it's not like directly in how the comic books is, but it's good. I could get behind with it. I'm like, all right, you know what? It's cool and it's great. And going back to what Javi is saying, before we get to that, in the beginning of the show, I think, or like in like a quarter way or something like that, as Steven and Mark are walking around the like asylum, they're looking through the doors and they see like memories and whatnot. And then we see Mark, like a figure standing over a car that looks like a cab. Mm-hmm. And right there, I thought, holy shit, that's him. Like that's gotta be Jake Lockley. That gotta be the next personality. We're gonna see him.
Right.
And so we're like, all right, bet. And then it's just fast forward till we get to your part. That's that scene. Mm-hmm. That's the person that we saw that we thought, oh shit, could it be?
No, it was just Mark.
Yeah, could it be Jake? And like like you said,
he couldn't face going into his mom's funeral.
Like you said, he was like crying and whatnot. He gets to his knees on the road, and he does that face and that expression where like he's about to get like possessed. And at that moment, I thought, oh shit, we're gonna see a third personality finally, right? But nah, it's fucking Steven.
It's Steven.
And that's basically like where Steven came back with Mark was when his mother died and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah.
But no, that scene really got to me, man. Because
that's the part you teared up.
He was like breaking down, crying because he was just like he just had so much built up like emotion and stuff. And he switches personality, makes that face, and he's Steven because he's like. Yeah. His way of like, you know what? Rather than dealing with my emotions and dealing with my problems, his coping mechanism is just to turn into Steven and be the happy version of him, the one that has good memories and good, this and that, the innocent guy. Like, for him to not face his emotions, for him not to face his trauma, that he was going through in the middle of the street, he changed personalities to be Steven. And he's like, what the fuck? Like,
and immediately calls up his mom. Like, hey, Mom, I'm lost.
And that's another thing, too, is that I've always wondered, like, so who's he calling?
Yeah, right. Who's he
Is
calling?
he just speaking for a while, like a long-ass time, but, like, he doesn't even let her respond? Or is there a voice talking back to him? And if so, who is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was I thought they would explain that.
Right.
But I don't think they ever do. But that part, I was just like, damn, like, rather than facing your problems and rather than facing your trauma and your emotions, like, he was so, like, down that he's like, you know what, fuck this. I don't want to go.
I want to pretend I'm someone else.
I'm not going to go through this. So he turns into Steven to not face his problems.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that is fucked.
Yeah, and I like the story. I like the way they did it.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
And I liked that Steven told Mark, like, it wasn't your fault. You were just a child. Like, that scene also got to me. It was also cool because it had to take, I guess, if you think about it, Mark's telling himself that it's okay.
Yep.
So he kind of somewhat got closure from himself because Steven is a personality, but it's still like him. You know what I mean? And since Steven was the personality of Mark that was innocent, that had good memories of his mom, doesn't have all the trauma bullshit like Mark does, he was able to, like, I guess, understand the situation and help Mark kind of get through it and be like, all those things your mom said, it was not true. You were just a child. Like, it wasn't your fault. Mm-hmm. And I like, that was a touching scene because it's like he kind of came in through with, like, he kind of got closure, but it was cool because if you think about it,
it's kind of him, like,
with himself.
No, yeah, definitely. It's like him moving on and him letting go. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of symbolism because speaking of, like, him finally kind of overcoming it and kind of letting go, he technically literally lets go of Stephen Grant. How we see that part.
You want to get to that part?
But before we get to that part, I want to talk about the scene where they go more in deep lore of basically how he found Khonshu. And he was on that. He basically mentions Bushman, which was that leader that he was working for, like that terrorist leader that he was working for, as a mercenary. And we see a bunch of dead bodies. He's like, yeah, I killed him, blah blah blah. And then we see. Then after that, we see him, like, shot, like all beat up or whatnot after it, right? And he's like crawling into this like tomb, like this temple type thing with Khonshu's statue, and he's there like right there by himself, and he's like about to kill himself, and then that's when Khonshu speaks to him like, "Yo, like I'll give you a second chance to live, or whatever, if you decide to be this, blah blah." And then that's when we see Moon Knight, you know, and for like 2 seconds, and that's it, guys. We don't see Moon Knight in this episode once again, and I know I said last episode I was gonna flip my shit, which I do hate that there's no Moon Knight in this bitch.
What you mean you got him for 2 seconds?
No, there's not. But the overall story in this one was definitely better than the last episode. I enjoyed this episode more than the last episode. I was
engaged. Like I remember last week I said
the beginning was like boring.
The first half of the episode I was kind of like meh, but once Harrow showed up in the cave,
right,
or in the tunnels, I should say, that's when it got interesting till the end. This one I was engaged through the whole thing. I was like, holy shit! Like we're going through his backstory. This is his origin story now.
And so I do enjoy it, but like I said, my always biggest critique, man. Once again, no fucking Moon Knight, whatever, bro. But yeah. So one of the changes there is that, you know, you see Mark about to kill himself, which I think I mentioned in the comic books, where he fights Bushman. Bushman beats the fuck out of him, leaves him in the desert, and Marlene, which is Layla in the show, and his friend Frenchie, which I forgot, we got to mention that. Find him. No, not Frenchie. No, it wasn't Frenchie. Sorry, it was just another dude that worked for Marlene's father. They find him, bro. They find in the comic books, they find him and they take him into care and they have him next to that statue, and that's how it happens. It wasn't the way they did in the show where like he's crawling into the statue and he's about to kill himself. Like I don't really mind what they did with that. All right, whatever. But I just want to mention that because we're mentioning some things that they changed. And then Frenchie, which in the comic books, Frenchie's a good friend of Mark, but we don't see him. I don't know what's going on. Maybe season 2 or something. I don't know. But he's not around. So I'm kind of wondering, like, interesting. Like I said, I think it's pretty interesting too that Stephen Grant is not a rich dude like how they did it in the comic books.
Right.
Which I thought that was pretty cool. Like, all right, something new. But yeah, that's the only difference. But going back to the symbolism where he's talking to himself, saying like it's not your fault, and it kind of shows in a way like him slowly getting over it and him letting go. And then when I said literally, he lets go of Stephen Grant because
so we at this point,
yeah,
they've opened up to each other because that was the big thing is that. The goddess, right? Taweret, whatever her name was.
I forgot her name. Yeah, the hippo.
The hippo goddess said, like, you guys have to revisit your memories and open up to each other and be true.
Right.
And because Mark was holding back memories that he didn't want Steven to see. But Steven obviously, of course, saw the death of his mother, his mom beating him as a kid, hating him, when Steven didn't know all that. And so they basically have opened up completely to each other, but the scales are still not balanced.
Yep.
And then they go outside in the boat, and it's fucking raining fire and shit.
Yeah. Then these like Walking Dead.
The sand people are coming to kill them.
These
and
Walking
shit
Dead zombies looking
for real, because they their hearts weren't full, so they can't go to the paradise. They can't go to the heaven. The field of
reeds.
Yeah, they can't go there. So these sand people are coming to kill them to claim them to the underworld or whatever, where they're just gonna die. But that's where we get to what you're talking about. So we eventually see that the sand people are coming out to the boat and they're attacking, and one of them has a hold of Mark, and Steven runs.
They're about to like throw him off the boat into that sand place that turns you into like stone or whatnot. And so, like,
Steven goes to push the sand person off of Mark, but he falls overboard. Yep. And he falls off the boat. And Mark keeps trying to tell Towerhead, whatever, hey, stop the boat. Like, Steven, like, run. And Steven tries running, but his legs get weak, and the sand eats him up. Like, not eats him up, like, he doesn't sink. It just turns him to, like, stone or something. It turns him into sand.
Was it sand?
Yeah, because in the beginning of the episode, I didn't catch this the first time I saw the episode. But at the beginning, it says, like, if your hearts are not full and we can't reach the fields of reeds, then you get thrown overboard. That's what she said. She's like, you get thrown overboard. Oof. And I remember she did the little sound, and she's like, and then the sands consume you. So I was like, oh, that's what happened. He didn't turn into stone. He turned into sand. Right. So I didn't catch that the first. I thought it was stone when I first saw it, but then rewatching it with you. When I heard her say that, I was like, oh, that's what happens at the end. But yeah, Steven falls overboard and fucking dies. And it fucking sucks that Mario's not here. I wanted to see what he thought of that, because remember, in the first episode, he thought Steven was the main character.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that in this episode, when it shows that when he's a kid, when Mark's a kid and he makes up Steven, we learn that Steven is not the real person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? We didn't mention that. Like, for when people who don't know Moon Knight and who are watching it, they'll be like, what the fuck? It's kind of like a plot twist for him. Like, what? Yeah. Steven is not the real dude. This motherfucker is.
He based them off the archaeologist dude from that movie that he watched as a kid.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. And then what you said about, right now, what were you saying about Mario?
Though that Mario, I remember when we reviewed the first episode of Moon Knight.
Yeah, he thought
that Steven was the main character, which makes sense because you follow his.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the first person that you get introduced to. He's the British guy, and then all of a sudden at the end of the episode, his reflection starts talking to him like it's the movie Mirrors and shit, but it's an American accent. He looks more serious and shit, and he becomes Moon Knight, starts beating the shit out of that dog thing. Yeah. But you think, like, what's going on? And I remember, like, even Mario was like, oh, so I guess Steven's body is being possessed by this thing. I don't know, this person or whatever, with this Moon Knight shit. So I wanted him to be here to be like, what'd you think? Like, holy shit, Steven was not the original. Yep. He was made up in Mark's head, and that's why he suffers from the personality disorder. Because he even said in that memory where he goes to his mom's funeral, he said that this was the moment their lives started bleeding into each other. Yeah. Where now he couldn't, like, tell what was real, what was Steven, what was Mark and shit. So I wanted to see. I was hoping Mario would be here so I could ask him, hey, like, what did you think of that?
Maybe in the next review for the 6th.
Yeah, for the finale.
Yeah, we could do something like that.
We could ask him.
But
yeah, so Steven gets thrown overboard and is turned into sand, and Steven dies. I didn't think they were gonna go there, bro.
I mean, but he didn't die though. Because Steven ain't real.
Well, sure, but like
I know what you mean. I'm just saying, like, no, no, I know what you mean, but like, technically, he didn't die, man. It's just all in his head. Like,
right.
Technically, it's just Mark. But no, I get what you mean. It's It's
still like I was still like attached to Steven because this dude was like, this innocent ass guy, bro.
Here's the thing, man. I think he's got to come back. You know what I mean? Because like you're telling me, like
we'll have to see how.
Right, but like if he doesn't come back, then like no more Mr. Knight. You know what I mean? No more. So is that personality that Mark lost, like Stephen Grant, and like he's like so sad about it, right? Because he was attached to that. Is that what's gonna trigger and replace him with Jake Lockley? You know what I mean?
Or
something like that.
Or does he get revived?
Right.
And does he come back to the real world? Mark. Oh. And does he recreate Steven? But this is the Steven that's the millionaire playboy that we see in the comics. Does he recreate him? But now it's this other Steven.
That'd be cool.
I don't know how I'd feel about that. I would like it if maybe he creates Steven and it's the same Steven.
Right.
From this Moon Knight that eventually becomes the millionaire like he does and stuff. Because I don't want to like lose, because you essentially grow close to Steven as a character.
No, definitely, bro.
You know what I mean? Because he was like confused and he didn't know what was going on. But then you kind of grow
he was
close
a likable character
to his innocence and him not wanting to do violence and shit like that. Like you just grew close to him as a character.
Yeah.
So to see him die, falling overboard in the boat and being consumed by the sand, like it hurt. I was like, Jesus, like, and then this is the crazy thing. Again, symbolism, right? It took Stephen Grant to die, and the scale's balanced.
Yeah.
And then the next shot is Mark in the middle of the fields of reeds.
Yeah. He's
so
just looking around.
He's in paradise.
Motherfucker look like he's in Illinois. like in a cornfield and shit. Like he's just like, yo, what the fuck?
Motherfucker was playing.
What's with this?
What did the captions say? Mellow song in Spanish.
Yeah, mellow Spanish song or some like, bullshit.
Damn, the captions couldn't even put Más allá el sol playing. Like at least name the song, bro. The fuck?
They just said mellow song in Spanish. Man, you bitch. We can't even get that representation, bitch. That's some hoe.
We're gonna do this again.
Man, they some hoes, bro.
But dude, yeah. Okay, so I was with you, man. I thought, oh yeah, of course it's not balanced because they're missing Jake Lockley's heart. But then no, the writers were like, no, he has to kill his innocent self. He has to let go of that personality that's fake. He needs to be his true self. He can't keep clinging on to the fake him. Like he has to let go of that personality of, I guess, the desired him. Because let's be honest, like they don't ever mention it in the show, but I guess if you want to like think about it deeper, wouldn't you say that Mark would 10 times want to live Steven's life?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the life where he wanted to remember his mom loving him, not hating him, not becoming the mercenary. Granted, Steven was kind of like he was portrayed as kind of like a loser, like a guy that got bossed around by his bitch ass boss, and he lives alone in his apartment. But like that over what Steven or Mark went through, I mean, low key, like I feel like not only did Mark grow close to Steven as a character, especially when they were outside of each other's bodies and they could interact with rather than talking to a reflection. Yeah. But it's crazy because you think about it deeper. If you really like think about it, that's what I did. I really thought about this episode, and I go, holy shit! Like Mark's dead, and he for the scales to balance, the scales need to balance for him to go to paradise so he could rest, like a heaven. Right, like we have heaven, like in religion and stuff like that. And in order for him to live in paradise and heaven, his scale needed to balance. And in order for him to do that, he had to let go of Steven. He had to let Steven die and let go this facade, this version of him that arguably it's a fake him because it's not the real Mark. It's not the real Mark. It's a different personality he created that only remembered the good things. Yeah. And so he had to essentially let go of that like fake him.
Like be true to himself.
He had to come like with he had to
acceptance
closure. Like he came to closure. Like he had closure with with having, even though he didn't want to, he wanted to save him. He's like, stop the boat. Yeah. He didn't know that
that's what
killing Steven is what led him to paradise.
Yep.
So I thought it was crazy that I was like, oh, well, the scales are not balanced. Duh. Yep. Where's Jake Lockley's heart? The fuck? But no, it's like the writers were like, no, it's because he had to let go of his innocence. He had to let go of his fake facade, and he had to be true. What? He's grabbing my shoulder, guys, and I don't know. I like it, but I don't.
No. Finish your thought real quick then.
No, that's basically what I was just saying. Like, I thought it was crazy that the writers knew that the fans would think that, but they went the opposite direction, and they were like, nah, man, like it's because Steven is a facade. It's made up in his head.
Definitely.
And he had to let go of that. You know what I mean? So low key, I was like, damn, I can't believe they went there. Fuck. And like I said, the episode ends right there. The scales balance, and the goddess is like, oh my god, the scales are balanced. And the camera does this really cool transition where it's all one shot. It doesn't ever cut.
Yeah.
It shows Steven.
One shot.
Yeah, right. It shows Steven, and the camera pans to the scales, and they're balanced. And the goddess is like, oh my god. And when it pans back to Steven, the transition is clean. He's in the middle of the fields.
He's just looking around.
And he's looking around. He's like, oh shit, like, here I am. I'm in paradise. You know what I mean? Right. And even the goddess said earlier in the episode, she said, like, even if I could return you to your body, you would be returning to a body with a bullet in it. So she implied that she has the power to be like, okay, you don't want to be in the afterlife, you don't want to be in heaven. She can send you back to the real world, which is where... But
you're dead as hell still.
Right. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm wondering how they're going to do that. Maybe time travel type shit.
I'm going to play you a scenario, though.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm scared.
It's one of my scenarios. Ready?
Oh, no.
Next episode.
Okay.
I need to get up there, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but if you want to get up there, with the whole body situation, you dead as fuck, blah, blah.
Yeah.
At least get me in contact with Layla, please. We need to stop Harrow. He's like, sure, why not? Layla and him start communicating. He's like, Steven, not Steven. Mark, I really need you, blah, blah. Harrow is going batshit crazy. He's making camels fly, blah, blah, blah. Like, just crazy shit. He's out here. It's a Tuesday, and look at the sky. It's already Friday. Like, like he's going batshit crazy, right? And he's like, please, I need to get up there. Release Khonshu. I'm sorry, but that's not how it works. He's like, Layla, you have to release him. I'm like, what? Me? Yes, you have to. Because this is what it takes, blah, blah, blah. And it takes back to the whole foreshadowing, like hinting.
Oh, I see.
The whole foreshadowing bullshit, where like Khonshu saying, "I'll take your wife as my avatar."
Yeah.
And so out of because you can't do anything, like I have to release Khonshu. So Layla ends up releasing Khonshu to save humanity or whatever fuck from Harrow, and she becomes Moon Knight. How would you feel about that?
Bitch.
Moon bitch. Moon ho. No, how would you feel about that, Hob? That's low key. Hey, let's be real. What I just came up with in my head. To be fair, that does seem like a storyline that does kind of make sense. But
I feel like that would be something that would happen, but I think of it like Venom.
Oh, okay.
The movie Venom, where like She-Venom was a thing. But only because the chick, whatever her fucking name was, had to bring the Venom symbiote to Eddie.
Yeah.
So she was like the female Venom, and like comic book accurate because there's a female Venom, a She-Venom, and so I feel like they would do that where Layla is a Moon Knight, and
maybe not for like eternity. Maybe just like for a second.
For like a bit, just to like do something to get Mark back. I feel like it would be something like that. It would be temporary.
Yeah.
In which case, that'd be fine. But like to keep her as Moon Knight, I don't know, bro. That's not gonna fly.
What if Mark's like, you know what? I finally learned how to closure in my life, and I honestly feel like if I ever go back to motherfucker, bro. What if he's like? What if Mark is like? But I feel like I'm finally at paradise. I don't have Steven and blah blah blah. I can finally rest. I feel like if I go up there again, I'm going to be dealing with those same emotions, and I just can't deal with it. You know what, Layla? You just take the role of Moon Knight.
Well, I don't know, because remember Mark said that he's been trying to get away from her so that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but like obviously things
because Khonshu.
But things can change, man.
Sure, but
I'm just
Khonshu,
running it.
Khonshu can be manipulative, and Mark now knows this, and so for him to like to want a divorce with Layla, and him running away like as a means to try to be to get away from her, so Khonshu wouldn't have her become the next Avatar. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that would actually, because then at that point you're contradicting the writing and the character of Mark. You would be just contradicting, retconning.
But what if he just changes his mind? Because he's finally free of... He's finally Mark.
Sure, but...
You know what I mean? Never know.
But
what
to
if
put
he
her under Khonshu's, like, control... Because he even said, like, oh, I don't want, like, Khonshu... Like, I want her to be the next Avatar. Like, I don't want her to have to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
Because Khonshu, like, made him kill people. Like,
right.
Granted, bad people,
That's
but, like, you know, even, like... just Khonshu's been manipulating him from the start. Even Steven sees that when he's like that dirty old vulture or whatever he says. he's been manipulating you from the start.
Say that again.
I forgot what I said.
You said that
dirty old vulture.
That dirty old vulture. No, but
pigeon. I think he said.
I'm not.
Pigeon
What's it called? I'm not saying like it's gonna happen. I'm just saying that. What if?
I mean Aradu. Fuck.
Oh, episode of What If.
No. Okay, season 2 of What If. I'll take that.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be cool because it's a What If episode. You know what I mean? It's canon in another universe.
Yeah.
But like not in the main MCU, bro. Don't do that.
No, okay.
Oh, and that's another cool thing too. Now that I think about it, is if they ever come out with a season 2 of What If,
that could be one.
Now they can do episodes that involve the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because all of season 1 were from the movies, from like phase 1 through 3, right? But like now that we have these Marvel shows like WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki,
Hawkeye,
we can Hawkeye, right? Moon Knight, we can get What If episodes based on the shows.
That'd be cool.
I'd like
for
to
season 2.
I'd like to see that. That'd be cool as fuck. But yeah, I mean, I would take that. What if Layla became the Avatar after he's like in this like the Watcher, right? Which by the way, did you know the Watcher is voiced by Jim Gordon from Robert Pattinson Batman?
I had no idea.
Yeah, that dude that plays Jim Gordon.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's Jeffrey Wright. He voices the Watcher, the dude that watches the universe. Where he's like, I must not interfere. Right? That'd be cool. Like,
I must not interfere as I'm fighting Ultron in the
he had to break his oath because he's like, well, he couldn't do anything. Ultron found him. He was like,
oh shit.
I didn't like that.
That was OP as fuck. Like he's like this. Like, I sense someone else in another universe. Like what the fuck?
That was trippy. I was losing my shit. I was watching that shit at work. I used to work third shift, bro, at my last job, and
he literally wiped out his entire universe.
I know.
And he was by himself. Like just like
I know.
No,
bro.
that's scary as fuck.
That episode is scary as fuck.
It's cool though.
But no, I would take that like it's like
yeah.
in the timeline that we know, Mark Spector comes back from the fields of Reed to take down Harrow once again as Moon Knight. But here we see a universe where he decides to accept his fate in
where he decides to jump off the boat to save Steven, turning him into sand as well, or some bullshit.
Oh,
what I mean? Like, what if he actually saved
Mark
Steven?
Tried saving Steven?
Yes, bro. That'd be cool as fuck.
And then Khonshu would still be trapped in that little statue thing.
Yeah, but then Layla would like free him or something.
Well, how if Layla doesn't even know what's going on? You know what I mean? I feel like in order for
she doesn't. Yes, she does, bro. Yes, she does. What do you mean?
Well, what do you mean? What do I mean?
Like, you're saying Layla doesn't know that Khonshu is trapped?
I don't think so.
Yes, she does. Don't you remember? She was there when Khonshu was manipulating the stars, and she said, "When they imprison me, free me." She was there,
right?
Yeah. So doesn't she? Oh no, but Mark only hears him and sees him.
That's right. Yeah, he does.
Oh, okay.
Well, even then, I'm doubt that this bitch is gonna take out Harrow and a bunch of mercenaries with guns by herself. The fuck?
I completely forgot about that.
No, yeah. It would have to be like after the show, like when he somehow because let's be honest, I'm sure Mark is gonna get revived. He's gonna come back to fight Harrow in the real world this time, not therapist Harrow from the afterlife.
Yeah.
But no, that I would accept that as a what if.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like a female Moon Knight episode of What If. That I'll take. That's cool.
All right. Well, yeah. So with that being said, let's get a rating, man. Let's get a rating going. What's your rating on this, man?
My rating?
Yeah.
So,
What you looking like, man?
I'll be honest with you.
Shit.
Calm down. And the in the
A 12.
No, like, you know, I know I said this in the last few reviews for Moon Knight. I think I said this. I definitely said this in the last episode, I think, if I remember correctly. But I said that that every episode so far I've enjoyed it, and I've loved Moon Knight, the show. What they're doing with Moon Knight, I've been enjoying the episodes. But I mentioned, and I think Mario agreed. I can't remember if you agreed or not, but I said that I'm still waiting for that one episode that's gonna hook me. Definitely. The one that like makes me go, this is the shit. This is the episode that like made it for me. You know what I mean? Whereas like I feel like every show that we've gotten so far had that. Some happened earlier, some happened later.
The first episode was really good, man.
Right. But I feel like it didn't like hook me in the sense that I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. I felt this episode did it.
Wow.
For me.
Real?
This episode did it. I didn't expect that to explore his origin, and I also didn't expect his origin to be so traumatic. And definitely with all the slight changes that they did to his backstory compared to the comics, it's a lot more tragic. Yeah. Which then adds even more depth to this version of Mark than in the comic books, you know what I mean? So that's interesting. So this episode was very like emotional, and it was very like heart-wrenching in the sense that of everything that we've seen, his backstory, the flashbacks, the memories, him losing Steven, and like how we said, the deeper layers of thinking about it like deeper in the show. And I honestly feel like I've been waiting for this show to give me that episode that made me go, this has been the best episode.
And this is it.
And for me, right, this episode finally did it. This was the episode I was waiting for, and there wasn't even Moon Knight in it. And that's fine. That's crazy, man. Because I'll personally take a character-driven type of a movie episode over one that's flashy with action and stuff like that. Which, don't get me wrong, I like action in my movies and superhero movies and shit like that. Yeah. But I personally like when they focus on the character. You know what I mean? I guess that's why, in a sense, I prefer the Batman over Dark Knight. Yeah. I remember I mentioned it to you guys that I will always take a personal story with Batman where he's in the center over the Dark Knight where Joker overshadows him, I feel. You know what I mean? So I feel like this episode, episode 5.
So with everything being said, Hop, what's that rating, bro?
It's a 10.
Damn! No, you tripping.
No, I don't.
You tripping.
No, that's me, bro.
Well, I don't like you.
That's fine. I don't like you.
Damn, a 10, bro.
A 10, bro.
A 10?
Yeah.
Batman level? That's crazy.
Sure.
That's crazy. Okay, I mean,
that's my personal opinion.
All right,
man.
Yeah, 10. That's high as fuck, man. I mean, for me, I think the last episode I gave it a 7. I think.
'Cause you said there was no Moon Knight.
Yeah, and the first half was like kind of boring. Right. Once again, no Moon Knight, man. I said I was gonna lose my shit. I didn't lose my shit because this episode was actually better, and it was like what you said. Everything you said, I'm not gonna repeat myself. Everything you said, I agreed. So I think I'm gonna. I'm kind of stumped, bro. I'm kind of stumped because I want to give it an 8. I want to give it an 8, but I feel like this episode has probably been the best episode we had. You know what, Hav? I'm gonna look over the fact that there's no Moon Knight in this bitch.
Well, what's holding you back from putting it higher? Because you say I'm thinking about putting it as an 8, which would mean that which is putting it in the same category as the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, because the first 2 episodes I really liked.
Right. And so for this one, what's holding it back from being higher, or what, or lower?
That there's no Moon Knight.
Damn, I had a feeling you'd say that.
Like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna be that guy, bro. But you know what? I'm not gonna be a little bitch, and I'm gonna judge it for what it is, right? Even though I do want more Moon Knight, bro. That's what 2 episodes now in a row. No Moon Knight. One more episode and that's it. Like we only had one episode with Moon Knight actually fighting. Let that sink in, man. But anyways, you know, I'm just gonna rate it. Like I said, I'm not gonna be like a bitch about it. This was one of the better episodes. I really enjoyed it too. I enjoyed the little differences that they did, and even the big differences that they did from the comic books, from what I've read. And I think I'm gonna give it a 9, bro.
A 9.
I think that's solid, man.
I'll take that, man.
I think it's better than any episode I've seen
so
far. Right, so I think that deserves, and because all the episodes I gave it an 8, besides the last one, which was a 7. So I think this one, I think 9 is fair, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's our time right now, guys. With that being said, thank y'all so much for listening, and remember, as always, don't let your pets haunt you. Take care, everyone.
See ya.